Welcome once again here on Regional Radio Sports. I'm Paul Condry. I'm the president and founder of Regional Radio Sports. To my immediate left, the legendary Jamal Henry, men's tennis coach here. And boy, I tell you what a stellar career he had here academically and as well as athletically. We'll talk about that momentarily, but he's also got a couple of his men's tennis players here today. From my left to my right, respectively, we have Lucca Almeida is going to be joining us, along with Jerad Boss. We're glad to have these guys with us here today. But I know we mentioned this during our first interview with the women, so I want to go back and cover some of the same things because, as you well know, there are different audiences for different situations. So we're going to cover some of the same things. And I know you'll indulge me because I think it's an important thing that people who don't necessarily follow women's tennis, but they may follow men's tennis. So we're going to talk about some of the things. In addition to being a former high school coach, you also are coaching here now at your alma mater, but you had a stellar career here playing as a champion and winner of national championship in multiple sports, 3 to be in fact, as a matter of fact, won national championship in baseball, tennis, and basketball. The only athlete in the history of Bethel University to be able to say that. Played for some of the greatest coaches in the history of this institution, including the legendary Mike Lightfoot, Tony Natale, Scott LaPlace, Todd Gongwer, John Dindu in tennis, along with John Natale, who's a member of the Hall of Fame, and then the legendary Dick Seiler, along with Mike Hutchins. And that's just a flyover view of some of the great coaches. And if you're here in Championship Plaza, powered by First Source Bank, and you see some of the new digital things they have there, you can read about some of those great coaches that Jamal was, and I'm going to use this term, firmly blessed to be able to play under. And I want to start with the blessed because as a man of faith and as a man who appreciates what men and women of God do for others, and they are able to help you grow in your faith. So let's talk about those men who helped grow you spiritually here on this campus.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I just think about the strides and the length it takes for us males to mature, and how long it takes for us to mature. I'm still working on it, man. I know, same here. But to have people, to have men, strong men of faith, strong men of character, strong men of value, really pouring into you day in and day out, to help build your character, to help build your value system, and your foundation as a person. You can't think of any other word but to say blessed, because it's not easy to do, especially as a coach, when things aren't always going well.
Sure.
Things aren't going well. You may not, your player may not be playing well, your team may not be playing well, but you still have to show character, and you still have to show your players and your team how they should act and how they should respond, and all of those coaches that you mentioned right there had different ways of doing so. And for me as a coach now, especially on the collegiate level here at Bethel, to be able to take each of their personalities and each of their coaching styles and really mold them and shape them into and bring them along and add them to my coaching style is instrumental.
You're really kind of in the infancy stages of being the head coach in regards to tennis, but the way you go about recruiting. So I'm a big proponent as a coach, former coach, and this was back in the Mesozoic era. I might want to point that out to everybody here, but the importance of getting a athlete, I'm going to use you as an example, a multi-sport high school athlete who's going to play different sports. Will you, in future, say to yourself, I want a multi-sport guy, and you got one here, and Jerad, so I'm going to, just to kind of toot his horn, baseball, basketball, soccer, so he's involved in a lot. He's a multi-sport guy. Will you, in future, recruit multi-sport athletes from high school, or do you want that guy who said, I've been a tennis guy for 4 years, that's all I do? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I do on my recruiting calls, I guess I'm spilling the sauce.
It's all right.
I really want to know what's the unique thing about the recruits that I'm talking to. And a lot of them, because I want to know, what are they like outside of tennis? I can watch you play tennis through videos and recruiting and things like that, come see. But I want to know your personality. I want to know what you're into. And a lot of them are multi-sport athletes. They love basketball. They love whatever it is, whatever other sport it is, and that is so critical to tennis and to every other sport because it adds so much to your repertoire. For me personally, having played high school and college basketball, baseball, and tennis, each sport lent to the other. My agility was so much head and shoulders above everybody else in basketball because of tennis. I could take a 90-mile-an-hour fastball or an 87-mile-an-hour curveball or slider and hit it with no problem because I was seeing a 110-mile-an-hour, 112-mile-an-hour slice serve. Didn't matter.
Right.
And it's just helpful.
When you look at the way coaches recruit today, and I'll give you a case. I'm not going to mention this highly successful Big Ten football coach, but I remember having a conversation with him at the Big Ten football meetings one time. And I remember asking him about recruiting, what is the thing he does. And he shared a story that he flew into town and took the student athlete out, and they went and played. They went and bowled for about 2 hours, and then he took him golfing. Two sports that the student athlete had not had a lot of experiences in. But he wanted to see how he was going to react in those areas, how he was going to adapt. Was he going to be competitive in those very unique environments? Was he going to be able to pick it up?
Yeah.
It's a very unique situation, but that this very, very successful college football coach was sharing with me, and I thought that was very, very unique because the guy already knows, knocking on the door, I'm recruiting you because I want you to play football for me. He knew that.
Exactly.
But he wanted to find out the other aspects that you were talking about in regards to athletics. So will you take those kind of things into considerations as you recruit, as you mature as a recruiter?
Even as I look back to the way I recruited last year as my first go-around to this year recruiting as my second go-around, man, it's been night and day.
Right.
And I think I finally have really developed my style of what works, my style of what I believe is key to our recruiting path and our recruiting culture. But I would love to have the budget that Big Ten coach had
absolutely.
to be able to recruit and fly and travel and take them out bowling and things like that. And the disadvantage sometimes in my recruiting process is, a lot of times I have to take these kids for face value.
Sure.
I may not get to see them. It may just be through video because of maybe they're internationally or maybe they're in a different state, or we just don't have the time because we're playing both fall and spring. And so through these phone conversations, through the video, I've really got to get to know them. And I think through my marketing background, as my other full-time job, that's helpful for me because I can really, I believe that I can really figure out a person's personality and what they're like and their character, through those marketing tools.
We got a couple guys that we're going to talk here today. In the white shirt over here is Lucca Almeida. We're glad to have him here today. He's from Brazil. We're also going to be talking with Jerad, who's with us today, and we're glad to have him here. And we're going to get some thoughts from him. Jerad, who is from South Christian High School, where?
That is in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay. So someone who's close by, someone who's a long, long way. Lucca, let me start with you. What was the allure for you to come to Bethel initially?
Okay, so first, thank you for having me, Paul. Coming to Bethel was a big decision in my life. First, when I came back in 2020 was when I got recruited. I couldn't come because of the COVID and everything. Yeah. I had to stay in Brazil for a year. But actually it was Coach Brad Foster who first recruited me. And I came for many reasons, First, because it was a Christian college. I wanted to come for this reason too. And I got to see a little bit of campus and a little bit of the tennis team. I was able to talk with a couple guys from the team. And since I started talking to them, they were all really nice with me, very welcome, and it was an important decision, and I'm really glad that I made this decision of coming here, and it was basically because
Jerad,
of this.
How about you? I mean, what's your deal, man? I mean, there was plenty of options. You could have stayed and gone to Cornerstone, or locally, or there's a lot of options for you. Which is really a kind of unique dynamic for Lucca to come halfway across the globe. well, maybe not halfway across the globe, maybe a quarter of the way across the globe. But you understand the dynamics of the question?
Yeah, so one reason why I chose to come to Bethel was like I was looking to get away far enough from my house where like my parents could still visit me, but I could also go home on the weekend if I wanted to. So Bethel is 2 hours from my house, so I was like, this is the perfect distance of I can still go home if I want to, and my parents can still come, but I also have that separation to kind of like grow my faith, meet new people, network with new people, and also see who I am without my parents looking over my shoulder all the time. Another reason I came to Bethel was the tennis program was very competitive. I was looking forward to like a spot where I could impact the team right away, which I was able to do, and I was able to meet the guys on a recruiting visit that I had in early spring of 2019, I think it was. So I was very happy I was able to do that and just come here and enjoy that.
All right, so let's talk about the future for you two cats. Give us an idea. We'll start with you. I know that you want to stay here locally. I think you've fallen in love with the geographical area. It's a nice area. Give us an idea on what some plans are for you for the future.
So this is actually my 5th year, so I've been here for 5 years. So doing my master's degree this year. I'm going to get married next June, so I'm looking forward to that. And my fiance is also a Bethel graduate, so we're looking forward to that. And then also living in this area right now, I'm a professional tennis coach at South Bend Racket Club. I'm doing that on the side, so possibly doing that or finding a full-time job around here.
Lucca, how about you? What do you want to do?
So I have plans to do my master's degree. I really hope I can stay here at Bethel and do one more year of studying here, and I would be able to use this one more year of eligibility that I have from 2020 that I wasn't able to play. So this is my plan right now. I'm still undecided about some things, but this is my plan.
Okay, so let's talk about these guys, Jamal, from a team standpoint. I know your lineups are not set right now, and you're going to have your challenge matches coming up. What kind of expectations do you have for these two dudes?
They know my expectations are for them to give their all 100% of the time, as with any coach. I mean, that's what you want out of any of your players. But these guys, I really don't have to worry, especially about these two individuals. They give their all. They both compete at a high level. They both get after it at a high level. And they just know, I just know each and every day that when it comes to them being there, they're going to be focused and give their all.
One thing necessary about Lucca, won the tennis team, most improved player, NAIA scholar athlete for 2 consecutive years, Crosswords League, all academic. This guy is absolutely crushing it in the classroom.
Absolutely.
Talk about using him as the standard bearer for what you want for your students.
Yeah, because tennis team in its history, men's tennis, has not been known as super smart guys, and so to have
Are you saying that from personal experience?
Personal experience. So to have somebody like Lucca, who's a scholar athlete, that's few and far between for men's tennis at Bethel University. But to have somebody that gives their all on the court, but gives their all also in the classroom. Both of these guys really. Jerad is another one the same way. That's instrumental in really as the upperclassmen of the team and really pointing the rest of the team and those underclassmen in the right direction.
We've only got 2 guys here representing the men's tennis team, so I'm going to get the guys' take. Jerad, you got some teammates out there who need to step up, right? I think you probably agree with that, right? Everybody needs to step up, right?
Yeah.
So let's do it right now, man. Let's call them out. Who needs to step up on your team? Who needs to take it to the next level, man? Who is it?
See, I think I don't think there's any specific person. I think that we can all step up in one way or form, whether that's on the tennis court, whether that's on leading the team, whether that's in the classroom, whether that's in the faith. Everybody brings something special to the team that if we don't have them, we wouldn't be as successful as we were last year and as we are going forward. So I wouldn't say there's one individual person, but I say we can all step up in our one small task, and that will just cause our team to thrive as we continue into this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is coach speak. That's as politically correct and right down the middle as you'd ever want. Jamal, is that?
He paid attention in Media 101 questioning class.
Absolutely. Lucca, from your standpoint, I know that obviously there's always a language barrier.
Yeah.
And you've been able to knock it out of the park, man. You've just really You blooming where God planted you. I get that from just the short time I've known you here. Am I right in saying so?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, in the beginning, it was a big challenge, the language barrier, to be able to improve my English and do well in classes. That was a big challenge for me, but with the help of my teammates and my friends and the professors also, I was able to improve my English and be able to do well in classes and communicate well with my coaches, my professors. And right now I'm just really happy here, trying to enjoy every moment and also trying to work hard and do my best in every aspect. So in the classroom or at practices, in the gym working out, in the matches of course. So yeah.
Who's your favorite professor on campus?
Professor, I would say Sherry Campo, because she's always helping me with a lot of things. Like she's kind of a mentor for me here at Bethel, so I would say it's her.
Jared, how about you? Who's your favorite professor on campus?
So for undergrad, I'm going to go with Lori Stutzman and David Stauffer. Those are my two favorite professors that I've had when I was in my 4 years at undergrad. Since now I'm in the master's degree, Dale Gadd has really helped me out and helped me reach this point where I'm at with tennis and school as well.
I want to wish you guys best of luck this season. Thanks for being here. Jamal, great to see you, buddy.
Always good to see you, Paul. Thank you.
That's a great day. And once again, get a chance to sit down and talk with Jamal. Make a point of it, because there's, like I said, both in the women's as well as the men's, very few athletes in the history of this institution, which goes back to the 50s, have been able to accomplish more, both on the competitive arena as well as a coach as Jamal Hendry has had. That's going to do it. Once again, I'm Paul Condry of the Regional Radio Sports Network, here from Bethel University. Thanks for joining us. God bless you all.